YouTube, what's going on? Hat here bringing you another budget build. Today we are going to be going over the Druid. Specifically, we are working on a Windy Boy, the Windy Druid. Let's just jump right into it and see what we got going on.
11.
All right, so the first thing I want to mention is this is a very cookie cutter build, meaning it's very popular. It's one of the top builds being used as far as anything with the Druid, really. I mean, we'll try other builds in the future, but for now, you're going to find a lot of guides on this build. This is the way I do it, and I would recommend it for gear such as what we're using, and let's just go over that right now. As far as budget gear that we're using, pretty much the same thing we use for any caster. We're going to use Sazabees with some skill and resistance. Same with Viper Magi plus skills resistance, faster cast rates also nice. Telling of Bees plus skill resistance. Spirit, skills and resistance, faster hit recovery. Spirit just has everything. Spirit Sword as well. We're using Trang's Gloves, which you can find pretty much anywhere. Faster cast rate rings with resistances. String of Ears just for some damage reduction. You could pretty much do any belt you want, really. Gold Wrap would be fine. But the damage reduction, you do get close to a lot of mobs and whatnot, so damage reduction does indeed help quite a bit. This one's 10 and get up to 15. Alder's Boots, because run walk is great for us because we're not teleporter, we're not using Enigma or anything. Fire res, 50 fire res is great. And then everything else is just resistance charms, life charms for the most part. As far as our stats, we are getting just enough strength to where our spirit, we're using nothing into dex and then the rest into vitality. We had to put a little bit into dex so we could use our nausea staff, which we are using as a teleport staff. So everything else into vitality. And then as far as our skills, we are going right down the line here. We'll start with maxing probably Tornado or Hurricane. It's up to you, whichever one. And through your leveling process, whatever you're doing, Hurricane or Tornado, start with those, and then move down to Twister. And usually I'll do Cyclone Armor last. Then we'll move into the summoning skills. I just make sure I get one to Solar Creeper, and then I start putting the rest of our points into Oak Sage. We are level 80 right now. It'll be a while before we'll have Oak Sage maxed. And the more you have it maxed, the more life you're going to have, the more life the Oak Sage itself is going to have. There is an argument to be made to get, summon Grizzly and some summons just to get some meat shields. But they die really quick. They don't do anything for damage. And they actually kind of can surround a mob and your Merc can't get to them. And if that mob is like immune to physical or something like that, you need your Merc to get in there, and sometimes they can be more of a nuisance than not. So we're running without it, and that way it's just me and the Merc doing our thing, and it's great. It's a lot better that way, at least that I've noticed. Now maybe if you had better gear, a lot more plus to skills, some charms, Annies, torches and whatnot, at that point you could probably make an argument to get some summons in there. They'll probably be a lot more tough, right? But for right now, we're not going to do that because we just simply don't have the gear to keep the summons to make a good argument to have them viable. I did also do a might. I did try the summons with our low level. They just died instantly. I even tried to give a might to see if they did any damage. With the Merc, it didn't do anything. So we did Holy Freeze. It just slows everything on our screen down, and I love that. I mean, you could make an argument for Prayer, maybe. But I think that's really the only thing that you're going to get. But we do use Solar Creeper for mana regen. And he's just using Tal's Mask, Treachery, Reaper's Toll. Reaper's Toll is very important. Our Tornado is physical damage. And when the Decrepify procs and that curse gets cast on mobs, it does break their physical immunity. And so that is very important. Otherwise, the only thing they're going to do for damage is going to be Hurricane, which is cold damage. And if they're immune to physical and cold, then I guess you would, if you don't have Reaper's Toll, you would just skip them or run by them. Anyways, let's get some gameplay in. Just give me 1 second. So as per usual, I guess we should buff up caster summons. Cyclone Armor is one of those things you got to remember. You got to remember to keep up Hurricane as well. A lot of remembering to keep these buffs up with this specific class. And we're good. We're just gonna go in here. Tornado's a little wonky as far as targeting. I noticed that if you actually click on the mob specifically, it does a better job tracking them. and getting to them. But the one thing, I used to play a elemental druid a lot, you know, back in the day, and I haven't played it much since. We got him to level 98 on a ladder one time, and I just, you know, when it comes to controlling the tornadoes, it can be a little frustrating, right? So this decrepifies on, these things will die super fast because of that curse. We are going to be taking a lot of damage because we are budget, you know what I mean? So we're going to be going through some potions. And the whole point of these budget builds is not to be like, oh, you can have a GG carry with just these little items. It's just to have a starting point, you know what I mean, for everyone. And that includes, you know, if there's a fresh ladder wipe, if you want to try a character you never tried before and you're a little concerned about how it's going to do, maybe these types of budget build guides will, you know, help sway you either, you know, into doing it or maybe not into doing it. Maybe you don't like it, right? But we're just going to cast tornadoes like crazy. I think it's 66 faster cast rate we need, and then above that is like 135 or something ridiculous. See, this guy's immune to physical. The only thing we're doing is hurricane damage, but now that he got cursed just now, that immune to physical went away, and now our tornadoes actually do damage. Do need to pick up some potions because I am blowing through them. Again, we need to make sure that we keep our cyclone armor on, which totally wore off. It probably could have saved me a potion or two there. And we also have to keep our eyes on Jamali's health over here as well. And Chaos Sanctuary is pretty dangerous of an area. There's just a lot of curses that you get on you. Like right now we have a lower res curse on us, which we're going to take a lot of damage from elemental damage. Which is also another reason you want to keep Cyclone Armor up to help absorb some of that damage. I'm just waiting for a health potion to drop. Good enough. Good enough. Our Spirit of the Oak tends to aggro mobs a lot, so you got to keep an eye on his, because once he dies like that, you'll notice your health will drop because you have about half as much as you had before. So keep an eye on that. And that's just really all it is, just keeping an eye on everything and making sure your buffs are up. Cyclone Armor, Hurricane, Spirit, kind of always have to have those things on your mind because one of them's going to wear off or die or whatnot. But I mean, it's an engaging class that way. Because it's easier to get right up to things in order to kill them with the weird route that these things take. So, you know, I have done this build with a Storm Shield before just to help absorb damage. I don't really want this. And I mean, once you have the Storm Shield and you're a higher level, you got a lot of plus skills, you're practically unkillable. Oh my god, that hurts. Because we don't want a Cyclone Armor on. Now, I don't play this build, I haven't played this build in years, so if I'm sure there's a lot, I could be doing this faster and better if I just was used to keeping these buffs up and whatnot. But I'm not, I'm gonna be honest, so bear with me, quite literally. But the damage is definitely there. I mean, right there was a moment of trying to hit a guy that we couldn't reach with our tornadoes. He wanted to say Twister, but that's a different skill. So, I mean, it can be frustrating. I'm gonna be honest. That's why I kind of don't play this class that much, is because, you know, getting these tornadoes to go where you want is kind of it can be a little bit annoying. But the damage is there, you know, it works. Physical immunities are something you don't run into as often as other elements, so you really will have an easy time kind of clearing everything with this build. And like I said, if you do run into a physical immune, you have either Hurricane to take them down, or if you have a Reaper's Toll on your mercenary, that Decrepify curse will absolutely break that immunity. I think I'm gonna go buy a bunch of potions. But players 1 chaos, I mean, it's not the fastest thing in the world, but we're doing it. You know what I mean? Easy character to solo. One of the better characters, I'd say, in hardcore as far as survivability. Cyclone armor is kind of OP. You know, once you have the Hotos and just kind of all the plus skill, just the GG gear, the rune words and whatnot. This build will be pretty. We'll be putting out a lot of damage, as well as it will be moving around quickly. If we could teleport with Enigma, we'd be moving around a lot quicker, of course. Also, we'd probably be teleporting right on top of things, and then doing the tornadoes, which would help things die quicker because we don't miss much when we teleport on top of them. That's pretty much it. I mean, we'll just fast forward to killing Diablo at this point. So hold tight. Start firing. I think the closer we get, the more guaranteed a chance of hitting him we're gonna have. But we're doing fine. We gotta keep an eye on our spirit. Looks like they're doing fine. And not the slowest kill, you know? Could be worse. It's pretty good armor for a merc budget as well. Little Duriel shell, not bad. Anyways, ooh, hang on. I think this is the one. If this was ethereal, no. Okay. Anyways, yeah. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope you guys enjoy these videos. If you could hit that like button and subscribe for me, I would really appreciate it. Again, it means more to me than you could possibly imagine. You guys watch these videos, so thanks again, and I'll catch you on the next one. Much love. Peace, peace.